What's up? I'm travel photographer Brendan Vanson of brendansadventures.com, and I'm here in Santa Cruz, Bolivia. So I'm here at Jardin Backpackers in Santa Cruz, Bolivia, and I'm kind of at a stage right now where I'm trying to pick everything up and figure my life out right now. A lot of you saw my PetaPixel article about how to make money as a travel photographer and has immediately assumed that that was the hardest part about being a travel photographer, is making money. But it's really the easy part. If I can make enough money to survive, I'm okay. And making money is a part of it, but it's really, that's the easy part. The hardest part about being a travel photographer is the relationships, and I just had a long-term relationship end, and it's hard. It is really difficult being on the road by yourself, going through that alone. It's incredibly difficult. And yeah, so here I am in Santa Cruz alone on the road again, and things like that, I suppose, happen, and you just have to figure it out. You have to find a way to get through. I think in a usual situation, if you have a relationship that ends and you live at home, life just goes on. Yes, there's things that change, but you still have your friends, you still have your social network, you still have your family support, you still have all that. On the road, you're by yourself. And there's no time more evident of that than just after a breakup. You realize you're in a little box in a room by yourself with nobody to talk to nobody to vent to, and it's very difficult. But sometimes things happen because they just need to happen, and they're for the better in the long term. And so life does move on, even for those of us who are stuck on the road by themselves. So anyways, as I mentioned, I'm in Santa Cruz and trying to figure out what I want to do with my life, trying to figure out what I want to do with my week, trying to figure out what I want to do with my month right now. I'm at Jardin Backpackers, which is an absolutely beautiful hostel, and it's kind of nice to be in a hostel setting again because there are so many people around. I mean, yes, it can get a little bit tiring having people constantly around, constantly answering the same questions of where have you traveled, what have you been doing, how long have you been on the road, and stuff like that. But it's really nice to make friends. It's really nice to have that social atmosphere out on the road. And hostels is where I find that. I tend to stay in private rooms in hostels, but I do love them, and I'll always love hostels just for that social environment. And Jardin is fantastic here in Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz is interesting so far. It really doesn't feel like the Bolivia I know. It's not Andean, it's flat, it's humid, it's hot, and it's been raining a lot. It's been raining a lot. So for 3 days, I've just been sitting here at this desk working, but it's now really early in the morning, I think like 6:30 in the morning or earlier even, and I'm going into the Botanical Gardens today, just outside of Santa Cruz. There's a ton of wildlife in this area, but most of it's really inaccessible. You have the Chaco nearby, you have the rainforest nearby, you have parts of the Pantanal nearby, and you have sloths, jaguars, all sorts of wildlife, monkeys, birds, but like I said, it's really hard to get to. The Botanical Gardens, I'm told, has a little bit of wildlife that you can see within reach. There might be sloths, there might be monkeys, there's definitely going to be birds, probably butterflies. So I'm going to take my old girl out, the 70 to 200, and do a little bit of photography at the Santa Cruz Botanical Gardens this morning. The main reason I'm in Santa Cruz, other than the fact that it is quite nice and I'm actually enjoying this town quite a bit, is that I'm spending most of my time at the Brazilian consulate trying to get my visa for Brazil so I can go to the Pantanal. So really hoping that happens. I should find out tomorrow if I can get to the Pantanal. And regardless, I'm going to the Botanical Gardens now, and then maybe even go try to photograph the plaza this afternoon. But that's it for me talking. I'm monologuing way too much in this episode already, so let's go shoot some photos and let's go check out the Botanical Gardens. So I'm now in the Botanical Gardens, and it's pretty beautiful. There is a typical botanical garden way back at the start, and then there's this ecological zone which is fairly wild, I guess is the word. There's a nice little trail that goes through it, and it's quite beautiful in here. There's actually quite a few birds floating around, although I haven't been able to capture anything. There's some lizards and things that I also haven't been able to capture, and some butterflies that I also haven't been able to capture. And I'm guessing that in the trees there's gonna be monkeys and sloths and things like that. But again, I can't capture them, I can't find them. I'm terrible, terrible, terrible at finding things like sloths. My eyes are good, but I'm really bad at picking out camouflage, things like that. So I'm gonna wander through along these boardwalks and hopefully find something. If you see some strange shots coming from my GoPro in this episode, it's because I have this thing. It's a little attachment that I bought to actually plug onto the top of my hot shoe. So I'll be able to put my GoPro right on top of my camera and shoot down the lens. So if you see those strange shots, it's coming from that. It's something I'm testing out. Let me know in the comments if you like it. And of course, there's a link to it, to this little product that's like $5 or $10 or something like that, in my description for this video if you want to check out this product. It's cool, I think, and it's something I'm going to be using a little bit more. So anyways, there's a butterfly. Let's go try to find some animals or butterflies or really anything to photograph. I've only got an hour and a half here, so I better make my time count. Let's go. So in terms of animals, I kind of struck out here at the Botanical Gardens. I did see a tortoise, which I think I got some cool photos of, which is okay. When you're out shooting nature and you only have an hour and you don't have the time to really sit and hang out and wait for things to happen, seeing one thing and photographing one thing is cool. There's been lots of really beautiful birds around, lots of butterflies around. I saw a blue morpho butterfly, which are awesome, but I didn't really get to photograph very much, which kind of sucks, but that's how it goes, I guess, out in the field sometimes. Yeah, what now? I'm leaving the park. I'm leaving the park. I only had an hour and a half here, as I mentioned, which really isn't enough time. If you want to be a wildlife photographer, you need patience and you need time. And I have neither of those things today. I've got to get to the Brazilian consulate and hopefully get my visa, which will take me to the Pantanal of Brazil, which would be fantastic because that is the most biodiverse place on the planet, and I almost definitely will see a lot of wildlife there. So yeah, let's go there, and then in the afternoon, if the weather holds off, it's absolutely beautiful today, we'll go photograph the plaza. So after I got my visa finally sorted yesterday, and I did get it sorted, it was too late to get to the plaza. They rushed my visa. It wasn't supposed to be done for a week, and they did it in 2 days, so huge thanks to the Brazilian consulate for making that happen. But because they were working on it so late, I didn't have time to go shoot the plaza, which is a huge bummer because I probably should have done that earlier, but it was raining all week, and it's really hard to bring yourself to shoot in the rain, and yesterday would have been the perfect day. But today I'm all packed up here in my room at Jardin, or basically packed up anyways, and heading on the death train tonight. It's not called the death train because it's dangerous. It's called the death train because it used to transport yellow fever victims, so it does have a reason for the name, but it's not as dramatic as it might sound. But yeah, the death train's taking me to Brazil, and in Brazil I'm starting in the Pantanal. I'm going to be there for 4 or 5 days, and shooting wildlife, which should be amazing. I've been to the Pantanal before, and it's a brilliant place, so I'm stoked for that. Also in Brazil, I'm going to be visiting Brasilia, the capital, and doing some architectural photography, I hope. And then from there, I'm going to Belo Horizonte and Ouro Preto and stuff like that. Then going down to Rio de Janeiro and Sao Paulo before flying back to Bolivia and Peru for my next photo workshop. So it's going to be an interesting couple weeks. It's been a while since I was in Brazil. It's been a while since I've been single and solo on the road. So I'm sorry that this has been a bit of a monologue episode rather than a photography episode, but that's how it goes sometimes in the field. I promise there's a lot of cool photography on its way in Brazil, so let's head that direction now.